When setting up, have your arms length, just outside hip width. From there, you're going to pull that band apart and keep it above the crown of the head. And all we're going to do, you're going to sit into a deep squat and back up. What I want you to do is turn your thumbs outwards this way, and I would show my armpits to you there. So rather than being here, can't see my armpits, externally rotate, show the armpits to the front, all the way down and back up. So ideally using a cable because we can get more weight on it, and if not a band, same rule, plenty of tension. The heavier the resistance, the more actual work we'll get into the hamstring. So we're going to go opposite hand, left hand, right foot on the floor, and it's going to be the tension of that band that's going to pull me forward, which I'm going to resist using my hamstring, reaching the opposite leg back. So I'm training that muscle there by lengthening it, and then come back up. So really resist the tension on the band or cable, lengthen through the hamstring, and then come back through. So the setup of the Copenhagen is really important. I've got a little bit of an overhang here. So what I'm trying to do is get my hip to be underneath this. I'm going to turn side on. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to push through the ground with this one, which lifts my hip up. So don't try and get on from here. Strong fist, forearm and shoulder, bottom leg to lift up, pop this on top, and then lift and hold in that position. What you want to do is, to begin with, alternate sides. You're going to do 15 seconds on one side, set up 15 on the other. Then, if you can easily do that, then you would do 2 reps alternating, or 2 on one side, 2 on the other, come back and top up with the 3rd rep on each side. And if you can manage it all, you do all 3 reps on one side before moving to the other. So easiest is alternating. Next level would be to do 2, 2, 1, 1. And then the next level, the hardest, would be 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Still find it too easy, then just add some extra time. For the lateral squat, actually using some form of weight to the front can help you if you're struggling. So what we need to do is set up in a triangle and turn our toes out. Reach something out in front just to use as a counterweight. That helps you keep your chest up. Sit in and then slide across. Slide across. So my hips should go straight across rather than rainbowing. If you're struggling with that, then you can attach a band to the front that keeps you held up. And from the rear, elevating the heels on something would also help. But just looking from the side, I go deep, I slide and stay low throughout the movement. As with all of our band and shoulder exercises, make sure that this initial movement comes from the shoulder blades and not from the wrists. So from that position, set the shoulders, open into a strong T shape, slowly back in. So we should be able to come to this position without our arms bending or our shoulders moving. So pick a resistance that allows you to get to here with no compensation or cheating from the shoulders or neck. So it's really important that you set up correctly for this drill. To do that, start in all fours, and then you're going to allow your butt to come forward and then end up with a straight line through your knee, hip and shoulder. Your hands should be to the front. And what I'm going to be doing is pushing through my palms so that my shoulder blades are not up here. I'm going to push, and then diagonally, like the Y raise, we're going to lift up one arm, hold for 5 seconds, come back down. I'm going to push again through both palms before lifting up to the other side. Just make sure each time you just reset that push, and then your shoulder blades wrap around the rib cage into this position and not be back. So what you want to do is find a wall just to get yourself set up. So I want to be exactly an arm's length where I'm pushing through the palm. And what I'm going to do from there is keeping this leg completely straight. I'm going to drive up, hold for 2 seconds at the top, slowly down. So with this arm support, we shouldn't see any shifting of the hips, making sure we feel the whole foot on the floor. And if I get this right, then I'll feel that glute working as well as this hip, and then come slowly down. For the plank open-ups, think about the top position, and what we're trying to do is develop strength in this arm reach in a way. So that's going to be my top position, thinking about pushing that ground away. And then the important thing is that shoulder and hip move at the same speed. So feet are going to be a little bit wider, and turn shoulder and hip at the same time and come back at the same time, rather than the poor movement, which would be hips and then the shoulders come through after. So as a solid unit, turn, end up on the edge of the shoes, come back to this position, across to the other side, hand that's on the mat, I'm always pushing that way. So we've got a low setting for the cable or a band. Again, band, decent level of tension. Squat position as I let the band come across the body, and then I'm going to rapidly pull this elbow and push through this floor to end up with the band on my hip. So from there, pull, elbow finish high here, band should lay across the pocket, and then reset for the next rep. So as an alternative to the hip internal external rotation on the wall, what we can also do is in seated, and for internal rotation, putting something in between our knees like our roller, and then we're going to move that ankle, push that out to the side as far as we can, as hard as we can for the 5 seconds, come back down. Initially, we can go alternating and then build up the capacity by building up numbers of reps on each side. Setting up in our normal position for the adductor rock back, and then from that position, thinking about lifting from the hip, I'm going to lift up and hold. If you want to make that more difficult now, I have this set up here, and then I'm going to lift this arm out to the side and then lift up. The key thing is to ensure you have like an A-frame. This is on a slight angle and not straight up, straight